Hi there, welcome to this week midweek market analysis. So as usual, what we're going to do is to update you on some of the charts over here, walk through the top process that I have, and along the way, we'll talk about some of these opportunities that you might want to keep an eye on for the upcoming few days or even going into next week. So let's start off with the dollar index over here. So far since the beginning of the week, dollar index doesn't have much of a move. So overall right now we're still maintaining a bullish perspective, okay, where we're still seeing basically the same thing, but we have this impulse 1 2 3 as a corrective structure. So over here we're still expecting a 1 2 3 with a push back up towards a target of 105.60, and in the near term, okay, in the next 1 or 2 days, if we can get a little bit more of a pullback towards maybe that 50 and 6.8 area with a small little three-wave corrective structure, then that would present a pretty interesting and decent buy opportunity. And of course, as long as the market maintains above 102.60, we are overall bullish and expecting at least one more pushback up towards 105.60. So we are overall bullish on the dollar, at least for the short term. Now in terms of Euro USD over here, ideally what we're seeing here is a 1 2 3 4 5, and of course wave 3 and wave 5 do have that divergence built up. So right now we are expecting a little bit of a deeper pullback towards 1.0800, which is where some of the previous resistance support as well. So right now our overall direction is still bearish. We're more interested to look for sell around at 1.0800. But understand that short term, if you're looking at maybe intraday opportunities, definitely you can still capitalize on this up push. We have that divergence, again suggesting lack of momentum, downside potential reversal, but you just want to be careful because not all the time the market is just going to go back up very nicely towards 1.0800. Sometimes what can happen over here is just a very corrective structure. It doesn't really tag at 1.0800 and it can still drop. Okay, so any buy is kind of like short term, and you definitely need to keep a very close watch into how the price is going to develop from there. So for me personally, I'm not going to be so keen in buying this up, but I'll be more interested to monitor how the market develop and can I get a sell with a potential target back down towards that low, which is around 1.0485, right? So that's my view on the euro. Pound dollar. Yesterday we do have the UK services PMI coming in, so it was pretty positive and we did see that strength coming in the pound. Okay, and as of now it seems to be testing that 50 and 618. If we can get a decent rejection from here, which means today, okay, we can kind of see some sign of like rejecting around at 618, then we can potentially look for downside towards 1.1840 to complete this three-wave structure, and then internally this is a three-wave structure as well. If we don't get that right, then we'll probably need to reassess the pattern development over here. One way to look at it, of course, is this can be an overall running flat, so 1 2 3, and then this can start going if it's just gonna go impulsively. Alternatively, this may develop into a triangle structure as well. So there are a couple of potential scenarios, but primarily over here is we'll just see, at least for today, whether we can get that kind of rejection, right? If we have decent, we'll just expect this to come back down to complete that regular flat and then another longer term push up. If you don't get that, then we'll just reassess according to what price pattern is going to develop, right? So if you're looking for sell, you definitely need to keep an eye and see if we can get that decent rejection. If you don't get it, you just need to be cautious on any sell position. Yeah. Aussie dollar, it came very nicely to the 50% and got a rejection, quite impulsive for now. Initially we were wanting to see at least a decent 1 2 3. I mean, we may still get that, right? What you see over here, you can see a very decent rejection, eventually went back up and then down. We may get that also at this stage, but we'll need to then be patient, right? And we need to also understand that it doesn't always give us that very nice three-wave structure. Sometimes it can just pull back and then just keep going. Okay, so for me right now is that overall direction on the Aussie did not change. We're basically still looking for sell with a final target at 6,630. Okay, the idea here is, of course, if you can get another pullback correctively to give us that 3 wave, we might have another opportunity to get involved in that sell. If you don't, then we'll just not rush into things and look up for the next setup or opportunities to get involved in any trade. Okay, so overall, I think pretty straightforward structure over here. We have this one push, 1, 2, 3, push down. Ideally, this gives us 3 wave and then another push down to complete that set. Okay, so that's the view on Aussie. Canadian over here, we do have a price trying to break above that, but it's still a little bit early. Okay, so definitely we need to give it a bit more time and see how the market is going to develop from here. What's the reaction? Because easily this can turn into a crawl pattern, and that would then mean a potential false breakout and then more downside. So there are a couple of things that can develop still. So my personal suggestion here is just give it more time and come back another day to look at the dollar CAD. So for now, just maintain a very neutral perspective. Okay. Dollar yen is naturally, I'm more bullish on it because of the recent impulsive break across that bigger time frame downtrend line. So right now, definitely we're holding on to a bullish bias. One way to decipher this, of course, is this initially looked pretty corrective, but this little break here kind of like invalidated that corrective kind of structure forecast. So right now, what we fitted in is an extended 5-wave move, because we can't definitely put this as a 1, 2, 3, right? But then this is 4, then it kind of invalidates everything. Okay, or perhaps then this would be a leading diagonal, but it doesn't look or feel like a leading diagonal for now. So that's what we fitted in, is an extended third wave. So it's actually a 1, 2, 1, 2. And of course, then if that's the projection, then we're basically within that wave 3 structure, and inside that wave 3 we can kind of see 1, 2, 3, and then maybe this would develop a 4th wave corrective and then another push back up to complete the bigger tree. Okay, so with that said, that's where we're looking at some form of a retracement pullback. If that's going to be the case, we can get one more short-term move back up for a short-term buy opportunity. Okay, and of course this is not a buy now, because this definitely looked more of a lack of momentum. We do definitely have that divergence built in. Okay, so in terms of like buying into dollar yen, just be patient, wait for a pullback, wait for a corrective structure. Okay, you definitely do not want to chase the market right now, but overall direction I think is quite clear. Definitely I'll be focusing on the buy side. Then we have gold. If you take a look at the gold chart, it's rather similar to euro dollar for now. Okay, slight difference, but overall view is the same, so we can't get this move down. Definitely over here seems to be lacking of momentum already, because this coming down is rather corrective. So short term wise, we're expecting a little bit of a deeper pullback, potentially towards like 1860. And if we can get that, then of course we'll expect another sell if this is going to be corrective. So short term, as you can see, if you're more of an intraday, you might want to look to capitalize this up push. Looking at things here on a lower scale, you might get a decent impulse corrective structure set up for you to take the buy. Okay, so for those of you who are more short-term intraday, you can definitely look out for that. Okay, for me, I'll be seeing how the market's going to develop from here. Same scenario, same kind of approach as we cover on euro dollar, and look at gold, more or less the same. So that's how we're going to look at it. Crude oil. Hey, crude oil is basically for this week itself is basically still testing that area of 15,618. So overall, nothing has changed. We're essentially looking at it from a 1, 2, 3, and then we're expecting another 1, 2, 3 over here. So as long as the market can respect this area, okay, we do expect one more pushback towards like $84.20. If you're trading the commodities like crude oil, then this would definitely be a pretty decent opportunity to capitalize on. Okay, so quite clear structure, direction wise is clear. I think the setup internally here looks pretty neat as well. Okay, S&P, yesterday we did get a pretty small little impulsive push down towards that zone. Our ideal situation of course was this coming down slow and then a decent rejection, but of course the market is what it is, and right now we do get a pretty strong push. Not that this entire thing is invalidated. I think right now we're still basically in that zone, so we're gonna give it maybe another 1 day, today and tomorrow. Maybe I think more from today we'll probably see that reaction already. If we can get a V-shaped bounce, then basically this entire structure is still intact and we'll still look for upside. But if today we don't really get that, you know, decent rejection, or even today we see momentum down, or we start to see it develop into something like that, we'll need to update this entire scenario. Okay, so I think today in the S&P, how it's going to develop is pretty crucial in identifying, you know, what is the next scenario that can play out over here. Okay, so if you have any buy, okay, you definitely need to be very, very cautious. If you have yet any position and you're looking for positions to get involved in S&P, today is definitely being crucial. Okay, yeah. Now, quick one here on pound yen as well. I think pound yen over here is pretty similar to the dollar yen. Okay, essentially we're seeing a extended wave. So again, we're putting in a 1 2 1 2, and this is basically the third wave, and internally we have also 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so any decent 3-wave corrective pullback would definitely be a buy opportunity. Okay, so bullish directional buyers look for buy setup. Cover a little bit on the pound Australia here as well. Okay, so pound Australia, yesterday CPI sent the pound, not CPI, sorry, yesterday's services PMI sent the pound higher, and of course with risk of environment where the equities drop, then Aussie weaken, that kind of continued that momentum for pound Aussie to the upside. And right now it's basically breaking through the area, right? We doesn't really see much of a rejection yet. So today is going to be crucial as well. Same thing with the S&P. If you don't get a rejection back down here, then this trade, if you have any, okay, my suggestion here is probably you want to get out of it. And we'll need to then reassess what's the pattern, right? I mean, overall, this still looks pretty corrective in nature. I doubt, you know, this would really be the start of that pushback up. Okay, of course, there's that small possibility, right? Nothing is 100% certain, but in terms of probability, that's not something I'm gonna expect. Okay, so yeah, but we'll see how it goes. If you don't get a rejection from here, then you probably want to just exit that trade, wait for another setup. Last one to cover, BTC. Okay, still pretty much in the consolidation zone, which is great. So we can't get that impulse, and then this might be a 3-wave structure back down. So it's 50 and 618, and we can get that. Then of course, we'll be looking for the upside. Potentially towards 27265. Okay, so this is quite clear structure, right? So again, look out for opportunities if you're into the crypto scene. So that's all for me. All the best for the week, and we'll see you guys in the next one.